Hey guys, I have a special guest today. It's Seana Kofoed. She is on NCIS Hawaii. She also has a new feature film that will be coming out soon called Clear Mind that she wrote and produced and has an acting role in, which is super exciting. We have a mutual friend named Leslie who recommended she come be on my podcast, and I am so delighted to have met her today. We had great conversations about acting, about being a mom, about kids, about her living in Hawaii, about coming back to LA for her time off after she's been in Hawaii for a bit, about working with her husband, who's also an actor and a director. And what a great conversation. I'm so lucky and happy that Leslie introduced us today. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Seana and check out her feature film, Clear Mind. It's not out yet, but when it is out, I'll make sure I post it on my social media account so you can find it when it's ready to be seen. So thanks for coming back every week. Go to birdieboydproductions.com. If you want to send me an email, there's a Wife of the Party tab. Thanks for all your comments and all your emails. I don't get to respond to all of them, but I do read them. So thank you for sending them. And I hope you enjoy this episode with Seana Kofoed. How long have you lived in Hawaii?
For about 2 years, though. It's on and off. Like the first year, we just did the season, and then we came back, and our kids finished school here because they had all their friends. Mm-hmm. And then we went back, and then because we were renting in LA, and then we finally just unloaded the house and shifted, which has been really great.
Do you love it?
I love it so much.
What island?
I do. We are Oahu.
I love Oahu.
You do? See, I love it. Most people, I feel like they're like, we're going to Maui, or we're going. And I haven't actually yet been to the other islands.
Well, Maui's pretty beautiful. It's pretty fantastic, but it's really, for living there, I think you'd get quite bored.
If you were on the other islands?
If you were on Maui.
I think so too.
But on Oahu, there's enough to do. I feel like there's enough city.
Of like city stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can kind of like drive a little bit and you're in Hawaii. Right. And then you drive a little bit and there's a Banana Republic.
Yes. Yes. We're just comfortably close to the Costco.
Yes, exactly.
Not too far from the beach and you can forget.
Exactly.
I love it. I do. It's so, like, I love that you can only drive like 35 on the freeway. That is totally up my alley and makes my husband crazy. But
it does.
Yeah, he's like, drive. And the lights are really long to let everybody through before you go through.
Right.
But I love it. So now being back in LA just on this break, it is like a terrifying video game to drive on the freeways.
Yeah.
In LA. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So you're here for while you're
just for like a few. Really 2 weeks. We were
only 2
weeks? Or 2.5. We assumed we were going back because our kids in school in Hawaii now. Hawaii. We couldn't leave until they were done, even though we were on hiatus from the show. And then, so we had like a 3-week break, left our dog. And now with the strike, it's sort of, we don't know exactly when we're back, but
it's unending. Are you going to stay here until you go back?
No, I think shooting, because our dog and because now we're in like a temporary rental, which... It's it's in the right it's close to our friends, but it's not like home. And I feel like I always bomb the Airbnb pics, and we walk in and everyone's like, "Mom!" There's like one soft and dirty dish towel.
Oh God!
We're like doing laundry with friends, and we're at that cycle where your samples have run out, so. Like, I don't even really know what I look like. It's like in an old cracked mirror and just dabbing things out of pots. And you just kind of want to
go home.
Go home.
Yeah, just go home.
Yeah.
Aw.
But friends, those are here. So that we miss. And that's been nice.
So did you live in?
Yeah.
Oh, did your kids go to?
They did.
I
think we must have.
Take that school name out, please. But go to our elementary school?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like I know you have some too. I don't know where mine are compared to you. I would have a 6th grader and a 3rd grader right now.
Okay. No, I have a freshman in college and a junior in high school. Actually,
so
senior in high school.
You started early and I started late. That's
yes. Well, I started in the middle, but I definitely was there before you. But I know Leslie because that's how we know each other because I was one of the main volunteers that built the World Fair when I was there. And Cody was always the fireman.
Yes.
So I knew Leslie because how do you not know Leslie?
Yes.
She's just a lovely human being and meets no stranger.
Yes.
So I knew her, but I didn't know her very well until recently.
I love, she's such a good egg.
Isn't she a lovely human being?
Yeah.
I should have her on the podcast.
Oh my God. Yes, I know.
should.
She sent you enough of us. She is such a good egg. Yeah.
Yes. And how about that whole community, right?
So good. And that we miss. I will say we miss having, and I love our public school in Hawaii as well, but it was such a tight-knit group at our elementary.
It was special. That little pocket in LA.
Yeah.
It's like hometown Americana.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know I have a brother moving here from his State Department. He's moving back and I keep trying to push him toward our neighborhood. Like just because you feel like enveloped by love.
Yeah. Do you think you'll come back here?
I do. I need some I need the country to settle down and pass a few laws that make it feel safer. And then I will come back. I mean, I think California is one of the better places to be for that, but
totally.
It's So once that settles out, hopefully the show will last long enough that things will have sort of settled out here or return to some sanity, and then we'll come back.
How do you like this show? I
love it so much. I mean, we're both sort of journeymen and women actors, and so we know to appreciate a sort of when a semi-stable, I mean, not as much as any can be, but like a procedural, like an NCIS, is it has a little bit more resilience in the face of all this stuff. Yeah. So I love it. And I'm only there when there's a dead body. And I usually get like a scene or two, but the writers are really cool about giving her some backstory. I'm just, I'll take what they want to throw her way.
Heck
way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. NCIS is like an institution.
It really is. And there's I don't know, I can't speak to the other branches of it, but this one, the guys and gals who run it they're very good humans, which I know is out there, but you don't feel like you interact with it so much. Like my husband, Jason, is a regular on it. He plays Arnie. And I definitely auditioned and they definitely put me through the paces, but I think there was it's like there's a bit of a warmth and an understanding that families are moving and how lovely to have both of these partners working and happy to be there.
That's great.
Yeah, I really think they're a lovely, loyal group of humans.
That's awesome.
Totally.
That makes so much sense. It seems like old Hollywood.
It feels that way, right?
Like
you have
old.
a player, one player of many, and you want to provide for that person's happiness on some level that's beyond financial, and not split up families if you can help it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah.
So you and I have that in common that you work with your husband.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. How about that?
Has its joys, and it's actually it's mostly on that front. It's mostly joys. People definitely are always you must laugh all the time. And all
to you or to me?
No, I get that about mine, and I'm sure you get that about yours. At home, it's just bubbling laughter from 5:45 to midnight.
Yeah, right. That's so true. Every day.
Right? Every day. Just creases. These are all from laughter. The grays that I pulled out this morning from laughter. It's great though. And I feel like because we're, he's the character actor on it, and I'm, our schedules are, maybe it would be different if he's number one on the call sheet. He's, a few down. And so he has a nice light schedule, but good stuff to do. And I'm only there when the dead bodies are there. So I have a really light schedule. So we can co-parent, which is nice.
That's awesome.
When he's not napping and playing video games. Which he's earned.
Now I have to ask you this, because Bert always would say napping and playing video games was work.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Because that's how he fosters his creativity.
Yeah,
that's how he recharges his battery.
Refuels,
so
right?
that he can.
So you put it on the business card.
Exactly.
I think so. I buy it. There's something about reading sides that also like it's conducive to napping. So you'll like memorize a little and then you'll nap
Yeah.
for like 2 hours and then you'll go back. And yeah, I think it shuts the brain off in the way that I don't know that we are allowed to shut our brains off in quite to the same extent at home. You know.
Yeah.
There are
Women, you mean
things-
women, mothers? Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My brain never shuts
I know,
off.
I
Even
know.
until recently, very recently, my kids are older. I slept with one eye open because I was convinced something's going to happen. Somebody needs
Yes.
me in the middle of the night.
Yes. And when I go out of town, if I, which is not super often, but you cannot sleep with earplugs.
No.
Like the other day we had our fire alarm went off in Hawaii and it's one of those ones that's connected to all of them. So there are like 6 fire alarms going off at 3 in the morning. Jason was like, she's just like fully sleeping. I'm like, get up, get up. And of course it was like a dead battery, but I think that we would be chopped into tiny, tiny pieces before he it's like, where's everybody? Totally in a pool of blood, but
yes.
hope you had a nice nap.
But I had a good sleep.
Yeah, right.
So
Feeling rested.
Right. That's so funny.
So yes, I agree. And I feel like, and I can see it in like photographs. I'm always like the wild-eyed one. He said, like Jason will be like, soft eyes, because I make like crazy eyes in photographs. And I think it's because I'm just at a constant state of like, on the cusp of panic.
Right. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going
Who's
on?
missing?
Yes. What's happening in there?
Yeah.
I hear that.
For
yes,
sure.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
What was the first project you worked on with your husband?
We met doing a play during I think it was the last big writer strike in 2007.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't that 2000? I thought it was 2008, but yeah.
Oh,
right
yeah.
in there.
No, you're probably right. I think so.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. And I was in Vancouver doing a show, Men in Trees, and then everything paused, and then we met doing a play in New York.
That's awesome.
So that was the first one, and it was great. And it's nice to. Did you meet yours while in performance and
bowling? So maybe not.
Oh, nice
bowling. Yes.
Oh, that's
no. Much more kind of all American.
Yeah,
Americana.
I like that.
Yeah, it was cool. Actually, I was a writer, and he was a stand-up, and I was actively writing a ton when I first met him. And so we were both creative.
Yeah.
And not that I'm not creative anymore, but when we had kids, I was like, somebody's got to make sure people live.
Yeah.
So I can't.
So you
I
can
can't
sleep
do this.
with at least one eye.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I couldn't juggle both and be happy. I would get resentful because I couldn't focus on my writing.
Right.
That's not fair to my kids.
Right.
It's
a really tricky thing. It's like you almost, it frees you. I mean, it's not really fair, but it does free you to do one or the other if you give yourself the break.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I've had to do at certain phases anyway, just out of necessity and all those things. Oh, I love that you met bowling.
Yeah, we met bowling. We had mutual friends, and we had a couples versus singles bowling night, and we were on the singles team.
Yeah.
And I asked him out.
You did?
I did, and I was like, well, I gave my phone number to his roommate and said, have him call me.
You did it like third grade old school.
I did, right?
Like,
I passed
Dear
a note.
Johnny.
I passed a note. Want a date? Check yes or no. No, I just passed my phone number. He never called me, so I called his roommate and was like, why didn't he call me? Come on.
Yes.
And he just put him on the phone, and I was like, dude, ask me on a date and I'll say yes.
Come on.
So he was just really nervous, I think, and really chicken. He just needed a little push.
Yes.
So
good on you for the other, for that one little half step extra of being like, come on. Where's my call?
Oh, one little push. What are you doing?
Yes.
And I really was like 2 weeks, and then we'll be friends forever because there's no way I'm marrying a comic. No way.
God. Oh, so you were like, okay, we're just going to be friends.
Yeah, we're going to be friends forever. This is going to be great. We're going to be friends forever.
Yes.
But I can't get married to a comic. Yeah. No way.
It does sound on the surface exhausting.
It's a little heavy lifting. It's actually something I think I was built to do and didn't really even know it.
Yes.
I didn't know that this. About 2 weeks after dating him, I went, oh, hold on.
I can do this.
I think this might be my path. I don't know if we'll get married.
But isn't that wild?
But I think this may be right because things are working that have never worked before, right?
In other little areas of that. Of dating or whatever else. Yes.
Of going like, oh, there's no boredom in sight for me here.
Well, yes.
know?
And I think the different perspectives that you would get from being with a comic
Yeah.
or a performer, like, I think that is nice and unique and keeps you on your toes.
Keeps you on the toes for sure. Never bored.
Right. I like that.
Never bored.
And I do, I mean, yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, we're in a situation where so far, it's all hanging in. I do feel like there's a resilience there. And if you can make it to being in the trenches with a family or deep into a relationship with someone like that, then you kind of know what you're in for.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no surprises necessarily on that front.
Yes, totally.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So
Okay,
you work together in a play, but that's not
Yes.
something you chose to work together on. You just happened to be both
right.
cast in
And
the same play.
and I think there was a little like, and he did the thing where which as he likes to joke is like my worst nightmare, which it is those projects where like if he is playing like 5 different characters, because you assume he's going to come home and just filter back and forth through his 5 different characters. So that's what he was playing in this Alan Ayckbourn play, Time in My Life. And it was so good. And he was so good and funny and felt familiar and not in a, family way.
Yeah,
not
but
in relations way, but
Yes.
felt familiar.
Yeah.
In that good way. And so then we long distance dated but late in life, in our late 30s, I guess it would be, met and then kids late but they're hanging in. Yeah. And they're young, which we did Disney yesterday. So I feel extra wild-eyed today. You know what I mean? Like roller coasters and slightly dirty clothes and makeup out of a pot and things like that. Just that. But
That's hysterical.
yeah, it's good.
So when did you decide the two of you would work together? Like when did you go, hey, let's do this together?
I think we did the long distance and then it came out and then we had one breakup that would then, I can't even remember what it was about. I think it was one of those, that panic before you like
Really
jump in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, I'm sure you had it too, where you're like, but are we sure this is
Yeah, we had one.
This is the best we could, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We
The
had a
best
4-day
regardless.
breakup that was,
Yeah.
I got a mixtape on my windshield.
You did.
And I found him when I finally went back to his house, he was crying in his shower, drinking Slim Fast. So
God, I think it would be the Slim Fast that did it.
right?
Just like, all right, I can't do it to this poor sod.
Right. He needs some solid
He
food.
needs- That
Stat.
is not a good road.
Right.
The Slim Fast road.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It was
Yes.
a 4-day breakup. And then after that is when everybody jumped in. So I think same thing what you're talking about.
Isn't
We're
that
like,
funny? Then you're like, all right, let's just do
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it is. It's that needed thing of like step away. And I think we broke up and then went for dinner and then just went to sleep. I mean, I think maybe it lasted a day but
Yeah.
it was enough to make the conscious decision to step back in.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
That happened for you as
Yeah.
well. I was just talking about that because when I showed up with the Slim Fast and everything, he was like, let's go to dinner tonight and talk about this.
He's like, because I'm starving.
I know, right? Because I've lost 15 pounds in 4 days and I'm
Straight off the
dying.
backside.
So we went to dinner in this one restaurant on the beach in Malibu. And I just thought about that the other day because in that one dinner is where we put all cards on the table. Like, I'm scared of this.
Oh,
I don't like
yes.
this. I don't understand this. How are we going to figure out this?
Yes.
What happens here? And
Oh,
it
so
was the
good.
scariest, most emotional dinner I think ever. But when the dinner was over, we were like,
Okay.
we knew like all the guns, the pistols, the knives, the nunchucks were all out.
Everything was there.
Yeah. And then you were able to go, okay, I can actually do this.
That's amazing. And I do feel like that's that like fewer surprises thing of like, these are all the things I'm scared of. And this is what, maybe it's going to be a challenge with us. And
Yes. Yeah.
That's great.
I don't know
Awesome,
how in
Malibu.
the world either one of us had the wisdom, guidance,
To do it.
wherewithal,
Right.
to
In
just
your
lay them all out.
20s or wherever
Well,
you were in
early
your
30s.
30s. Yeah,
Yeah.
but still, that's pretty advanced for early 30s.
Yeah,
That's
I just
great.
thought about that. We were driving home the other day from his sister's house, and I was like, "You remember that dinner? I hadn't thought about that dinner in a long time. Do you remember all the things we said to each other in that dinner? It was a really crazy, it was like almost like a commitment ceremony by showing all your guns.
Yes, and be like, unroll the like,
Right.
feel like your magic kit.
Exactly.
It's an embarrassing card trick I do on Thursday.
Right.
God, I love that.
That's
Now,
crazy.
see if we could convince I'm sure they'll do their own version of it, like going through each other's like search histories, our kids, but when they settle down. Like,
yeah. I
be
do
nice to
wonder
guide
about
them.
that because our kids, I wonder about how I'm curious to see where they end up in their relationships.
Yes, like how they vet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really curious because having teenagers,
Oh my God, they're teenagers.
dating is very different than when we dated. I think I'm your age. I'm 52.
I'm 52.
Yeah, so
okay,
say. Yeah, 1970?
Yes.
Yes! When's your birthday?
August 13th.
Shut up, I'm August 20th.
What?
We're twinning. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah. Yes.
7 days
I
apart.
see. I understand now.
I'm the younger one, but
Yes,
I'm
you
just
are.
kidding.
You definitely are.
7 old days.
Mhm.
But yeah, the way we dated was, so traditional and typical compared to where we are today with dating, that sometimes it concerns me a little bit because it's like the negative of having too many choices is that you have too many choices, then therefore you make no choices.
Yes,
Sometimes.
I totally agree in that you are constantly, right, it's that toss-up of not wanting to settle for the wrong person, but
Yes.
keep waiting and waiting, and then it feels too late and you're stuck in your ways and you don't want to do anything or reach outside yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or looking at there's just so many possibilities for work, for love, for self-identity, which is a wonderful thing to have all these amazing opportunities. But I always try to, with everything, everything has a yin and a yang.
Yeah.
What's the other side of it? Like
Right.
we were so traditional that in some ways it might have been easier. I don't know.
Well, right. The past, and I'm sure it was probably not easier for someone inclined, like who wanted to go another path,
Okay,
right?
100%.
So those
Horrible
are the
for
changes
them.
exactly
Yes.
what you're saying.
Horrible.
Like, those are
Yeah.
gifts of now,
Yes.
which I'm totally down for, like them having this, but almost the social media and that access.
Yes.
It makes it feel like anything's possible. And they could meet someone tomorrow who's a TikToker in Tennessee and be like, I'm moving there because he has a lot of followers. Hopefully that's
And we're
not how it
global.
rolls.
And
Right,
you're
exactly.
like, ooh, Lordy.
Oh,
Hold on
yeah,
here.
like how you still, God, hopefully. I feel like my hope is that mine are strange enough that it will weed out a certain level of other human just because they're too much work. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. I don't know. It's interesting to watch. So even just their whole friend group date. Because there are definitely kids in their group that are very traditional.
Yeah.
And are just, the boy asks the girl to the prom, the boy picks the girl up, the boy opens the door, the boy brings the flower, and that's just traditional.
Right.
And then there's I'm going with, I think Isla went with another couple who was a traditional couple, and she was the third wheel, and the boy and Isla dressed alike, which is so fun.
It's so unique and
It's
wonderful.
so fun.
And
I love it.
And these kids are gonna, I really, and I've talked to mine, I was like, you just need to tell me everything. Just teach us. We're
totally
here to learn, and we're gonna mess up because I'm totally aware that all my girlfriends and friends with teens are like, we need to get it right for them.
Yeah.
And there's, especially at that teenage year, they're like, no, that's wrong, and this definition is wrong, and so because I remember, my years of strident is the wrong word, but in college, when I was finding my voice, I was I didn't allow as much wiggle room. So I can see the teens now being like, no, mom, dad, there's not wiggle, this is how it is. And these are the terms that my peers and I are putting forth, and it's your job to come to us.
Yeah.
And I guess, it is.
It is. Yeah.
So we're learning, and
We're
I'm
all
sure we have
learning.
a big road ahead of us.
Yes.
But
we do.
We're down for it.
I'm so down for it. I just want everybody to be happy.
I know.
I
and
always
kind.
have. Right.
And just kind,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's and again, like my obviously my kids they're amazing and they all have their unique things. And school is always an up down, and I just want them to be kind, like human beings, which they are.
Yeah.
So my work's done that, and eventually, like I want them to move out of the house and
yes,
put their own socks on and things like that. But
to function on their own,
function on their own and be kind to others.
Yeah. We have 2 words we say in our house: grace and gratitude.
Oh,
if you're living in grace and gratitude, you can't really go wrong.
It's really true. You can't go wrong because if you apply that to any like snotty comment you make or a rude thing you do or shutting someone out, like that gets kicked out. Even in my poor choice of Airbnbs, I was shacking up with my daughter because we split the kids in the 2 beds because no one can sleep without because they're creeped out. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to go home. She's like, Mom, you need to be. She's 8. You need to be grateful for what you have, and it was a total like lesson. And I was like, you are correct. I cannot badmouth our digs. And so, yeah.
Grace and gratitude.
Grace and gratitude.
Grace and gratitude.
I love that.
So you have a current project with your husband, right?
We have, we both work on NCIS.
No, I mean,
I'm selling a movie.
Yes.
That he is part of in that he watched the children while I went to shoot it. So that's kind of part of it. He's in special thanks. And it's done and through post and everything, but now we're in deliverables. So we're delivering it for foreign markets.
Oh, awesome.
It's an indie, I've done 2 and it's like an ensemble thriller. It's not really scary. It's a little scary, but not. It's more like dark funny.
Well, a thriller's different than horror.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
A thriller's great. It's exciting.
I mean, that's right. And now, of course, it's at a smaller budget, so it's tricky to do it's a bit of a genre straddler. It's a thriller, but without explosions and car chases because we're an indie.
Right.
So still hopefully thrilling in that the performances are really, really good. And it's a show, I love ensemble mysteries, thrillers. I love them, and I totally respect the horror community. And I've tried my first one, I tried to make a horror, and everyone was like, that's a really soft horror. Like, there's definitely no decapitation and not enough blood and or nudity and things like that. But so it's in the vein of the things I like to watch, where it's entertaining more than terrifying.
What's it called?
It's called Clear Mind.
Clear Mind.
It's about this woman who loses her daughter in all my anxiety on the screen in a swimming pool, like accident drowning. And so she goes through VR therapy to exact revenge on all the people she feels were complicit on that day. It was sort of an exercise in how I couldn't, like how you could move on from for a mom, the most like unimaginable thing. And for me, the only way I felt like I could even look at it was through like dark humor, which obviously it's not funny in any way. But,
right.
So that's.
Did you write it?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I wrote it and I produced it with a friend, Kristen Higgins, and I'm in it, but I'm like 7 on the call sheet. Like I always like to be in my things, but nice and low.
Yeah.
So it's not about me. I'm like not even tertiary. And so much work, but so much fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Have you, when you were writing, did you shoot your own, like, did you start shooting your own movies or shorts or any of those things?
Well, I wrote 8 screenplays.
Holy moly.
I wrote comedies and romantic comedies.
Yes.
And one was bought and made.
Nice.
And went to Cannes.
I should know that. Oh my God. I'm
why
so
should
sorry.
you know that? No, my last name was different. This is before I got married.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Love that.
3 other were optioned, but were never made. I think we were at the very beginning of the death of the rom-com.
Yes.
So by the time I had stopped writing because I had kids.
Right.
Right before I got pregnant, I had written a sitcom pilot that I was producing and shooting myself. And I had just about to start filming it. And my director actually booked CSI and got pulled off my project. And so I was looking for a new director, and I developed the whole thing kind of not with him, but he definitely helped me a lot in just trying to keep it in a budget and like what's realistic in a budget. And had the budget ready to go, and I got pregnant with Georgia, and morning sick was my name. I was so sick.
Yes.
And I was still working my day job. And because even though I did sell a feature and it did get made, it doesn't do what people think.
I know.
You know, it didn't like go, and now you quit your day job.
Right.
Wasn't quite that.
The outside world does think. Even I'm like learning that now in the strike setting. Like, oh, I thought everyone made so much more.
No.
Right? Yeah.
No, writers don't make, it's not very beautiful until you get very big.
Yes.
And this is my first screenplay. So it was great money for first screenplay.
But
and very exciting, but definitely not freedom. So I was still hustling my day job and continuing to write and trying to produce this. And then I just was so morning sick. And by the time I got past morning sick, I was 6 months pregnant. And I was like,
that like to step into production
I'm not doing
would
this.
not be, it's not, because then you would feel horrible. Also, you'd be an emotional wreck.
Yes,
you would feel horrible about not being with her.
Yeah.
And then,
it was just a bad
timing.
It was the good Lord saying, not now.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Just not now.
Just not now.
Not now. So I went, okay, not now. Had a baby. Bert went on the road when Georgia was 3 days old. Started touring when she was 3 days old. So then I was like a single mom.
Yeah. Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate.
Oh.
So I was like, you know what? I tried once. I would try to write while she was napping, and I'd just get started, and she'd wake up, and I'd be angry because I got interrupted.
Yes.
And then I was like, I just will not do this to my kid. I just won't do it.
I think that's such a hard decision to make, but I do think it's so smart, because knowing that that's what you come to with, or what you go to her with, is that like slight resentment.
Yeah, it's not fair.
And then waiting to jump back in, and then jumping back in, and it takes so long to get back into the brain space. And
and to jump back in is 4 days later, because she's got a cold, and now she's not sleeping. And then I was like, just never mind. Can't do this.
Totally. But I think that's good, and a gift to your kids. And also that doesn't go away. And oh my God, think of the experiences that.
No resentment. No negativity for making that. None whatsoever.
I love it.
But I do sometimes feel like I have to go, hey, I did these amazing things.
Yes, like the back, like kids'
like
picture on the front, and then like a list on the back of your t-shirt.
These are my credits.
Just so you know.
Yeah, these are my credits, because I go, I sold a screenplay that got made and went to Cannes. Nobody can say that.
Absolutely.
Nobody can.
No,
just because I'm selling cotton candy at the World Fair doesn't mean I didn't have a life.
And I will say that's one thing I totally quickly realized in our community, is I was like, oh, these are a bunch of moms with brain power through the flipping roof who are funneling it into their kids. That's why you probably have like a dozen producers in that section of moms, and all the writers and the creative and the artists, and it
was a powerhouse of women.
Powerhouse
of women over in that community.
Right? And then the dads would be like, build this.
I know. The dads. And some pretty powerhouse dads too.
Of course.
Those great, creative, really bright.
Yeah.
Out of the box thinkers in that whole neighborhood.
I remember someone saying, when we were looking at here and also Studio City, which we couldn't swing financially, and they were like, well, those are the execs. Our area is the below the line. And I was like, I'm down for below the line.
Isn't that interesting?
Like that,
no one told me that, but that's absolutely accurate.
Which I love, because there's a nice work ethic.
Yep.
Good people willing to collaborate.
Yep.
Not to use to, ordering too many people around. I loved it. Yeah.
Not too many bosses.
Not too many bosses.
Yeah.
A lot of like worker bees.
A lot of worker bees.
It was a good like second in command room mom.
Yeah,
that was my that was my strength.
Totally.
Executioner. Yeah.
Totally.
God, see, you when you're ready, you'll go back in. Yeah.
Well, in the pandemic, I actually took a UCLA extension class on essay writing. So I wrote 9 essays in the pandemic, which I am devastated to say someone stole my computer, and they were on, and I thought they were backed up to the cloud, and they are not. So I lost all 9 essays that I was so freaking proud of and excited about.
That is devastating.
So I got to start over a little bit. But what I did learn from that experience is that I still have a lot to say, and I'm really good at creative writing.
Yeah.
And I can do it quickly when I have the space. It seems to vomit out of me. And that's always been that way.
Because it's all those years where you were on kids. It was still like just packing it in on that. And my gosh, and this setting is the storytelling setting. And I love that. I think people devour that work. Those like first person narratives. I would buy that book.
Oh, well.
I would in a heartbeat. You sure you didn't email it to?
I emailed a couple to my dad. So I have I think I have
some
couple.
bones of some.
I have some,
maybe.
A little bit. We weren't required. I wish we had been required to turn them in to the teacher. But because it was on Zoom, we just read them aloud on Zoom. So I don't even have that paper trail, which is a real bummer. It broke my heart. My computer got stolen a couple months ago. And I was positive it was backing up to the cloud, just regularly backing up. And it was not backing up my desktop. It was backing up everything, like my photos and my emails. And
this is where I get lost.
I don't either.
Like when they asked me at the Apple store, is it backed up? And I have no idea. If a tiny fairy has done it in the night, yes.
Is it in reverse? Because that way it's backing up.
Other than that I can do.
Exactly.
Gosh.
So anyway.
Okay. But yes, so and the lessons learned that you can go back in for more. Right.
Yeah, it's there and I still have my humor and I still get it. And I'm still, I'm very creative in the context of what I do with Bert. And that creativity has been enough for me because I think life without any creativity, I would have been really unhappy.
Yes.
So collaborating with him in those bits and pieces that I've been able to throughout the past 20 some years we've been together have been really important.
Well, that's true too, right? With us doing the kids and choosing creative people as our partners, like even like pandemic, it was so obviously so isolating. We only had a shot. Like we made our kids do a little web, a web pilot, like a 15-minute show about a family in pandemic, and having them under the same roof is helpful. It really is. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. Was it fun?
It was really fun. But it was a little bit like, I was like, you have to learn your lines. You should probably look at these. And now he's truly on the director path, but it was like him directing the kids and all the outtakes or whatever. I had to our editor, I had to be like, just hold us in your heart with love when you hear all the extraneous dialogue with it's like, get it, put that down, $20 for one more take, $20. Oh my gosh. And then, or finishing the take and then be like, the red light was not on. So
oops. Oh no.
Sort of like a testament to the marriage, getting out the other side. Anyway, so tiny, 15 minutes, but we had fun.
But fun.
Yeah, very fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been writing?
I feel like probably since college, but never. I think it's probably only in the last 2 or 3. I'll back it up to before my first feature. Good, decent writing. No, not decent. I think I'm a good writer right now. I have flaws. I'm very good at dialogue, and I'm good at characters and writing things that actors want to say because of being an actor for so long. And I think something about getting raised in the theater and work, TV writers and film writers are amazing now. But as we were coming up, it was all playwriting, which I think is a good. I think it's good for dialogue training. So I have plot is not my forte, and mostly plot. Maybe jump scares. Mostly plot.
Plot and jump scares.
Okay, so that's a big thing, especially when you're trying to do theories and horrors. But I, with nudging and help and notes, I usually can get there. Anyway, so that was a long way of saying, probably writing 20 years, but only probably marketable for 4 or 5.
That's awesome.
I think. I mean, I'm not yet in the union, and it's still just a thing I do on the side because I love it and I like to make things. And hopefully one day I'll write properly.
Oh, I think you are writing properly.
Yeah. It's hiring people, and I love hiring people, and I love making a thing.
It's awesome what you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So few people actually have an idea, create the project, and take it across
all
the
the way
finish
through.
line.
I think that's true. I
huge.
think that's true.
That's huge.
And it's exciting. And I do think in that way that I'm being treated well on this, on NCIS Hawaii right now, like I like to make families and I like to bring people in that I think are talented and kind. And I believe that there's, like your show, I believe that there's a place for that of, bringing all these people together to make story.
Yeah. So you grew up in the theater?
Yeah. I mean, not like total circus trained. Not my parents weren't, but I think, came up in the theater as young adult. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Where did you grow up?
So Chicago or outside of Chicago.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. I've been to Chicago once. It was lovely.
It is very good people.
Yeah, seemed like
very, very cold, but very, very good people.
I don't think I was cold when I was there. I think it was April. Not
that can be cold.
I would imagine, but I don't remember being
good. Good. Yeah, and it's really the people
really great.
Are really great.
That's great. And did you move to New York or did you move here?
I did New York first, and so did Jason, and then LA. So New York, like 8-10 years, and then LA. Hawaii. I mean, I do. Where were you born?
Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
Rural.
And were you Georgia?
Georgia.
Rural.
Yeah, 1,600 people in my hometown. Really small. Yeah. We had 3 red lights, but they would turn 2 off because we don't need them.
God, I bet that's the root of your sense of humor in there, like from that 1600s.
Oh, 100%. The best storytellers in the world are in the South.
Absolutely.
And when I was little, the men would go outside and tell stories and the women would stay in the house and gossip. And I never really cared about the gossip. Yeah. I would always sit on my dad or my grandpa's knee
and just hear the
listen
stories.
To these tales being spun.
Great? Also, there's the music in the Southern
bluegrass.
Yes.
Gospel.
Yes. And even like the verbal, the lilts of the Southern way of speaking. I feel like it's like the Irish. They're really good storytellers. The Southern are really good storytellers because they just sort of know how to bend and weave in a different way. Like there's so much more color in your voice and I love the Midwest, but than in the Midwest. Like I know we have our own that's sort of stark and bare bonesy, but I love the Southern and I love the Irish.
I do too. I love being from Bowden, Georgia. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love going back there to visit.
Yeah.
I just couldn't live there. I think I just got too bored. I just was too curious for that town. I'm always really curious human being. My dad used to say, please stop asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to stop asking questions. I'd be like, but why?
Why?
But why? But why?
Yes.
But why? And by the end of the day,
little
it's
eyes.
Like, oh my gosh. I don't know why. I don't even care why. Pick a new word, just not why.
Oh my God.
So I think I just showed up on the planet way more curious than a small town person could be and be happy.
Yes.
But
that's that curiosity that comes from that tiny spot. Oh, it made you poke in all the directions.
Exactly. So from there, I lived in Atlanta when I was a child. Also, my parents divorced and my mom moved me to Atlanta. And she moved us into the gay community because she thought the safest place for a little girl was a bunch of gay men. So single mom.
I kind of love that.
It was freaking amazing.
It's amazing. It's as a single woman, I always lived in Boys Town.
Yeah.
For the same reasons. It just felt loving and safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was the 70s. So outside of that little pocket, I'm not sure my neighbors were happy.
Yeah.
But in our little pocket, they were very safe.
Yeah.
And they were very happy.
took care of each other.
Yes.
And it was a community.
Absolutely.
Because they were forced to come together as a community.
Yes.
Yeah.
And eyes were always on me walking to and from school. No kids to play with. slight downfall there. It was me and my cat.
So you're like each gay couple. Why? Okay, why? So tell me now why.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
But I think that exposure to that different part of the world made me way too curious to stay in a town of 1,600 people. Where I was like, there's so much more going on than what's happening here. So I can't stay here. I just couldn't stay here. So I ended up moving to New York too. I lived there for 4 years.
You did?
I did. And I studied Meisner.
I'm
a Meisner trained actor. And I know, right? When I was acting, I kept getting frustrated because people would say, you got to lose your accent. And I'd go, well, okay, I guess. But then I started figuring out I don't actually want to pretend to be someone else.
Yeah. That's good. That's
I don't want
information
that.
for you, right?
This is not.
It's not about you like putting on another mask.
No, I don't want that. I actually was acting, I think, to figure out who I was.
Yeah.
And then I started writing so that I could just write roles for just me.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not to be an actor, just for me.
Yes. Sure.
And then I was like, wait a minute, I actually like this way better than anybody seeing me do this. I'd much rather just write it.
It's like going into this voice and then going into that voice.
Yeah.
Right.
It was way more interesting to me than trying to. There was something for me about acting that made me feel like I was inauthentic because I was being someone else.
Yeah.
And for me, that didn't work.
Yeah.
But it informed my writing.
But it was perfect for your writing.
Perfect for writing.
Because then that's all like straight from the gut.
Exactly. And it's all character. And then I'm not pretending like it's me. I'm saying, hey, I'm making up all these different characters. And for whatever reason, that worked better for my wiring.
Well, especially if you're in New York, of course, it's like the theater version, which is unless it's really deftly done, you're very conscious of people playing these roles.
Yes.
You know, it has to really be good to make that go away.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And then LA, you met Bert out here though, right?
Yeah, I met him here.
So you moved to LA for weather, for friends, for...
Well, I was not making friends in New York. I couldn't find my people there.
People.
And I wasn't very happy there. I was not completely unhappy, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
I was still trying to act and writing a little bit in New York. And my acting teacher there said, oh, I'm friends with this guy. He's a big agent. I won't say his name, but he's an agent that people in Hollywood know. He's like, go see him. Tell him I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he goes, you got a choice. You need to lose 10 pounds or gain 25. Maybe you should stop eating lunch, start smoking cigarettes maybe, and you'll drop that weight, and then I can start casting you. And I went, I think I'm in the wrong town.
And I'm going back to my 1600 person.
I was like, I gotta just stick to writing. I'm just going to write. So that's when I went, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. I think I'm just going to write. And I kept acting. Actually, I made a friend who was a director, and she put me in all of her projects exactly as myself.
Yeah.
I was like a nurse from the South.
Yes.
A waitress from the South. You know what I mean? It was
just versions of you.
It was me,
don't.
You know, so I kept doing that, but only because she made it super safe.
And super easy.
And
you got to like really a little bit stretch that muscle. Yes.
Yeah, I just came in and had fun. Played dress up for the day and had fun. But it wasn't my life goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like play.
Yeah. Which is great and gave you that like stretch.
Yeah.
Also, thank goodness you didn't waste 3 years and all that mental energy. And it makes me furious, like trying to go down that path of smoking cigarettes and skipping lunch and being skinny for what? Because guess what? We're going to always be like who we are. Like I'm not going to suddenly have a tiny, cute nose and like, I don't know, like big boobs or whatever else. I'm not going to be that person because I didn't come here as that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Put on the earth as that person.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I was lucky enough at that age to go, I'm just really not willing to make that commitment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm not going to do that.
You were not, right.
Yeah, so pivot. Let's just pivot to what I was already writing. So I just kind of dove headfirst all the way into that.
Into it.
Because... I just went, this isn't for me. I'm not going to do that. And I was always the one that go, she's probably way better for this part than I am. She should probably do that. This way better than me.
But now when you get back into it, would you write yourself like 13th on the call sheet? You know,
maybe.
Right? Southern nurse. Southern
nurse, Southern waitress.
Southern doctor.
Yeah, Southern daycare worker.
Yes, right.
Maybe, because it's really fun.
It's just fun, right?
Yeah, I had a bit part in Bert's movie.
You did?
Yes,
okay, good. I got to see it. We kept getting the trailer and I was like...
Spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen it, but when I was there, they were like, hey, will you play this one character? You just have like a couple lines. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. No
Absolutely.
Problem. It was really fun.
I see. I love that. A little low pressure and like hanging and it is really fun. I know that's the thing because you're like, just somebody do my hair and makeup. I don't even care if I go anywhere or say anything. That's like there's people who are like, I'm so pissed. I was on set 8 hours and I did one line, or I was in the background. I was like, but you have lashes. And now you can go out to dinner feeling pretty.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, good. Oh, so, and then, so going into like or narrative fiction, right? Is that what it's called when it's first person, the essays that you're doing? Is it narrative fiction, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Narrative
would you also
essay,
do scripts or not at the moment? Would you?
I probably would
Yeah.
if I had an idea that I really liked. Yeah. I've been thinking about pulling my old scripts out and just reading them again and seeing what I was writing about at 27 years old, 28, and just to see
if even there's a spark of one of them that,
see if anything interesting me. Even the
eyes.
pilot that I wrote, just see what that's about. I don't have time. I won't have time for a little bit. We're so busy in this conglomeration of Bert Kreischer. But yeah, I am kind of curious about what I was.
I think that's totally valuable.
Yeah.
And that's good writing. Like that's not just because it was 10 years ago or however many years, that's not bad. That's still great writing.
I hope so. We'll see.
Right. Well, like I said, the ones that from like 10 years ago, when I pull them out, they're like, and a ghost moved through the room. I was like, oh yeah, this is a ghost story. Total, this is dead. This is a bomb.
I was trying my jump scares at this point.
Yes, I was totally not jumpy. Like dead queens and not queens, but queens.
Yes. Royalty
queens. Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What are you going to work on next?
I mean, well, so here's the interesting thing about trying to sell the movie, which we have this great foreign sales agent that we love, Film Seekers, and they're based in the UK, and so that's covered. And then we're looking for domestic, but it is still, I can already tell, because it's in this budget range that's under $1 million. The cast is top notch. Like we're definitely like punching above our weight on the cast, and I think the script is good. But the budget is, as it is, it's very hard. Anyone who's shot and tried to sell an indie, it's a very tricky market. So we'll see how we do. I think I want to do another one anyway, but I'm also, the Midwest in me wants to pay back our investors. So it's just hard because I'm not a fan of being like, we'll just move to the next one and blow another $500,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do want to put in, and I'll write on the side for myself. But I want to put in like 6 months trying to see what we can recoup.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, and I love the thing I wish it were a little bit less expensive and easier to sell. And is that I do love that thing of bringing people together to make a thing.
So if you couldn't be an actor, if acting left forever today, what would you do instead?
Do we lump in writing with acting, right?
Yes.
So all those,
that whole
all
kind
those
of industry.
Loping.
Yes.
I mean, for a while, I wanted to be a private investigator.
Did you really?
Yes. My husband and I took a course. I don't know.
You took a course?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Don't remember any of it. So hire me. Yeah, no, we did. We took one I feel like it wasn't LA City College, but we took a 1 week course on private investigation. I feel like they told me I was too tall, but I'm not that tall. So
too tall to be a private eye? What?
Maybe too tall for like a female private eye. Maybe he was thinking like windowsill.
What? So you can peek in like this, just eye level on the windowsill?
Isn't that funny? But in my brain, that's all I remember. He's like, you're probably too tall.
That's bizarre.
It doesn't make any sense because I'm like 5'5.5".
Right? That's bizarre.
Bizarre. I'm not totally sure he was licensed.
Don't let anybody tell you you're too tall for anything.
Thank you. Or that you need to start smoking cigarettes or skip lunch. I would do something. It wouldn't work, but I would want to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it work?
Too tall. It sticks. It sticks forever. Good Lord. What would you do? Do you know? Or does it change?
I feel like I already do other things. Yeah. Right?
You already do enough of the other strange.
Yeah. Like I've been a Girl Scout troop leader for 12 years.
Come on.
That's something totally different that has nothing to do with anything here except how do I craft a moment that inspires young girls to be their best? That's the whole journey of that has been how do we present opportunities that girls can rise to instead of teaching even. Because like, even just like all my Girl Scouts know how to use a hatchet, right? Know how to sharpen a pocket knife, know how to build a fire. They can all build a temporary shelter. They all know how, all these like life skills, right?
Yeah.
But we never were like, let me show you how, you know?
See, that's great. How did they learn how to hold a hatchet? I mean, you were like, you gave them the tools.
Well, I would show them,
tools. Yeah.
But I would show them. But I would never, my co-leaders and I never we try to let them discover their mistakes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And the crafting of that path with those young ladies is probably one of the things I'm the most proud of, is watching myself and my two co-leaders, I don't know how the three of us are such kindred spirits that we just innately understand the difference between teaching somebody and inspiring someone to learn.
Yeah.
Right? And we're not interested in teaching. We are interested
in
presenting the opportunity
for them to meet.
Them to pick the hatchet up and go, okay, Leanne just showed me how to do that.
Yeah.
And I believe that you can and don't need any further direction from me. So you try it.
There's got to be
figure out how.
I'm sure there's a scientific, like a synapse reason also that becomes a stronger pathway than you doing a tutorial over and over again or whatever. Them making the decision connected to like their own, like discovering the way to use that tool.
Yes.
You know, with obviously that initial guidance of not hitting each other or whatever. But
yes.
I think that's great.
Just to create a safe parameter and go within this parameter. Here's what you do. You know, even when we were teaching them how to build a temporary shelter, we gave them a huge pile of all kind of stuff. Stuff that's obvious, a tarp, a rope, whatever. And then stuff that was not obvious, like a can of tuna. What are you going to do with that in a temporary shelter? You don't have to use all of these tools, but I'm curious to see what you do with them to build this. And they just jumped in and used trees and rocks and limbs and things that we were like, oh, the spatula driven into the ground is a great stake. Isn't that interesting? That's what you did with that.
Huge.
So that's been kind of, I think I would do more of that kind of stuff.
There's got to be a way that's a presented like opportunity even after Girl Scouts, right? Like if there was a river of that training or coaching or opportunity in I mean, what's the right year for that? Obviously Girl Scouts, but also women need it in college or high school. Well, is Girl Scouts middle school or is it high school?
It's kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yeah. Oh, nice. It goes all the way through high school.
All the way through high school. Yeah.
Okay, then we just need more people to do that then. Or
yeah, I think more. Yeah.
I mean, right. It's such an institution that I'm not sure like it could be applied. Do you think it could be applied across? Like, could other people in other states and places and
do it that way?
Yeah.
Girl Scouts is pretty good about having things be girl led, but I think it's up to the leader to really decide to let the girls do it.
Yeah.
And not just do it for them.
Yeah.
You know, or not just hand out a coloring book that applies to what you're learning instead of actually physically learning. You know, when they're younger, obviously I'm not handing a coloring book out to a 12th grader, but you know what I mean? Like from the beginning, we were never a worksheet group.
Yeah.
We were a group that goes, well, how do we do this practically? Because when you do it practically, you learn it.
I wish I had that. I mean, I love that.
That's been a big gift to me. And I know it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And it's a lot of brain. But it's been amazing to watch. My oldest girls are now freshmen in college. Yeah. And my youngest girls are freshmen in high school. So the freshmen in college obviously aren't in Girl Scouts anymore, but that's how long I've been doing it. I took them
all the way through.
All the way through. So they all started in kindergarten and have gone all the way through. And to watch those young ladies progress. I mean, I have 13 girls still. That's
amazing.
Insane. We started with 25. And so 4 have gone to college and the rest of them have just kind of like gotten into volleyball or done something else, which is completely fine. Yeah. But this little core of girls that have stayed through this whole time, it's been really amazing to watch them grow
That's
as a group,
huge
as individuals. So
chunk of like influential time. Like that's great.
it's their
12
whole
years.
childhood. It's been such a privilege, and a privilege to be trusted by their parents for one, and to be liked by them, because I think they all actually, even as teenagers, still like the three of us that are doing this together.
Oh, I bet they do.
And the three of us are so bonded because we really approach it like, how do we present them with an opportunity to experience something and learn through that?
What a gift.
And I love that shit. So whatever that would be in real life.
Yes.
That's probably what I would do.
I love it.
For a living.
I love it so much.
So you can't make a living as a Girl Scout troop
I would
leader.
also buy that book if I don't know if it's translatable to the page, but I would buy that book. Like even on the plane, I like looked at all these like heavier books about, writing this or that, or, medical examiner books. And then I took my son's, a book I bought from him. It was like How to Survive Anything. And it's just the right size. And so that's my like travesty reading on the airplane.
That's great.
I'm like halfway through. But I love that stuff. And I would totally, gosh.
So I don't know what that job would be, but that's what I would do.
I love it.
If this left is something like that. I don't know what
Well, once you see yours all the way through, will you let the next leaders take, like once you don't have a Girl Scout in the family?
It'll just disband.
Yeah.
It just disbands. Yeah. So I have until my freshman in high school. So I have three more years, and then they're all gone. And my daughter will be gone. My daughter only has one more year, but we committed to these girls.
Yeah, so you want to see them
going.
through.
There's no way I would leave those girls. No way.
Oh gosh, yeah.
No way. So.
Oh my gosh, those girls are going to be so thrive. They're going to thrive like in their lives, and that's hopefully they take that and.
They're fierce girls.
I bet.
They're awesome girls, all of them. There's not a bad apple in that bunch. They're just great young ladies. We're so proud.
This is when I'm so excited for the youth, right?
Yeah.
You've just, in so many ways, we've seen them like rise and thrive. And these sort of women, like, that's our future. That makes me feel so taken care of. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
An aging human. There's hope. Right?
So you have a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
I have two girls.
Yeah. You have and both freshmen. Yeah.
Yeah. Two girls, a freshman in college and a junior in high school.
Okay.
So is one harder or easier for you as a parent, girl or boy?
I mean,
personality
wise, God, they're both amazing. It's interesting. Initially my son was trickier just because he's a boy, and I think that often is like they have a different path, and they're both, emotional and slightly anxious. I can't imagine where they get it from. And now it's shifted. Like he's taking a little bit more responsibility and is really good with kids. Like, so they sort of pass the baton back and forth. Yeah.
It's that way forever.
I think so.
It is. Yeah. One's easier than the other one's easier.
And right. And I was just saying the other day of that, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it is just so true. So you lay in bed thinking about like, this one had their feelings hurt, and this one had a teacher was mean to them, they felt, so yeah, it's a little bit of a roller coaster, but they're good. Like, again, I think they're kind humans, and I think they're contributing members of society, or at least they are on path to be, you know.
What do they have any interests or any hobbies?
Their daughter the youngest is into like gymnastics. She has taken no courses. So we're working on that, but like gymnastics and dance. She's going through the whole like gymnastics, dance, acting thing.
Oh, okay.
And she will probably come out the other side of it, but at the moment she likes it.
Yeah.
It was very funny when we first sort of were finding our feet in Hawaii. I was like, okay, well, everyone should take a theater class just so we have something to fall back on. You know what I mean? Like the last thing your parents would have, or my parents would have said to me. But I did feel like I wanted them to have that. Also because I feel like theater people, I was like, it's theater or band. I feel like it's kind of like a little bit of, it's like a safe space, and just the right amount of nerd to keep them safe and not excessively judged for their unique qualities. And so I don't know. And then my son is lately, he still likes like playing with things and like story through his creatures and figures, and then lately we're pretty excited. He started paddling in Honolulu, and it's like a bit of a rite of passage. If you grow up in Hawaii, is to be on a paddling, so hui nalu, and they race and have regattas, and
Amazing.
I love it. And he has not, as of now, been like a sports kid. So he wasn't the kid who was always on like baseball or soccer or whatever. He didn't really like go for organized sports, and I feel such joy when I watch him like paddle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous? And and they're like tough, but like loving, and the coaches, it's all volunteer. And again, I feel like it's like your girls coming up. They're connected to that. And that's probably true of a lot of sports, but is like a respect for the water and a respect for the land and for each other and for teamwork and all that. And things that Jason and I aren't super equipped to teach them, and they wouldn't really listen to us anyway.
Right.
And there's a big thing of like, you always clean up your beaches in Hawaii. So like when you have volunteer hours through school, you do a lot of beach cleanups and park cleanups and all that stuff. And I love that.
That's great.
Part. So yeah, I think it'll be good for them because they like outdoors, they like nature, animals. And so I think my son may go in that direction.
Very cool.
Something with,
He's 11?
He's 11.
Oh,
yeah.
Such a good
I
age.
know.
They're so yummy from like, I don't know, 8 to 12.
I was like, what's my window? I don't know
about boys. I don't have boys, but 8 to 12.
Yeah.
After 12, you guys start getting a little dicey.
I just fills my heart with fear. Yeah.
Just a little dicey.
Just a little dicey, right?
A little dicey. I would like to say girls are worse than boys, but I have some boys in our friend circle where I'm like, that's pretty freaking dicey.
Yes.
Dicey.
And that's even with my son. I was like, I did expect the girls to be like snarkier, but kind of the boys are a little snarky to each other. I'm like, oh God, I can't take it. Oh, yes. Just like, I just want them to get peacefully through. I'm totally prepared for the emotional, like, I hate you, I love you. I hate you, I love you. Like we can see like a window into that. And kind of, we can keep them safe.
Yeah.
But also strong. Like, I feel like that Girl Scout thing, boy, I wish I could just send my kids, both of them, through something like that. I love that.
Oh, it's been a real joy. It's been a gift and a joy in my little dorky heart. I freaking have loved the Girl Scouts for what it's done to my
Don't
girls.
You feel like also that's you putting however many girls who have gone through that program, like you've contributed to the betterment of society
I hope so.
Sending kids through with those skills, I think.
I hope so. I
mean, assuming they continue to honor that.
I think they will. I've talked about this a ton on my podcast, but I really believe service is a really big part of being happy. If you can be of service, it like fills your heart more than almost anything. Is just being of service.
Absolutely.
It's not money. It's not success. It's
not in the same way,
service,
right? And
no.
I think, again, they've done even like chemical studies of that, it boosts the giver, the recipient, probably all the people around you or anyone who witnesses the act. And yeah.
It was a big part of my family culture growing up. My dad's family is all about what do we do to help your neighbor, your community, the church. And they weren't even church going people, but if the church needed something,
they would step up.
Part of the community. Let's do it.
See, this is,
and as part of that small town.
I think so.
That is stayed. My dad and his brother and sister were just here visiting last week, I think. And I was in my kitchen in my other house thanking them because that is one piece of who we are in that town that I kept
with
me always because my mom is definitely not a service-oriented person. Yeah. And so that was just part of witnessing my family, my broader family, just be people of service.
Really to step up and care for. I just love that.
Yeah, I love it too. I'm very proud of that part of what I hope I've given to our kids.
Yeah.
Is to be of service. Your whole life doesn't have to be service.
Where I feel like I hope. Yeah, yeah, I mean, just yes to that. And I do think I hope for our country that like all those communities that are who know how to be of service can somehow and maybe 70-80% of them are, but to remember to expand that circle of service to grace and gratitude and
Yeah.
kindness to people who are unlike them or on a different path than them or don't look the same way that the people that they normally bring comfort and aid to. It's like we're so close. We have this root and coming from the small town and a church community or those small. If we could just take all those people who have that part and remind everybody to like give wider.
Yeah.
Of spirit, not money, or of time or anyway.
Of grace and gratitude.
Of grace.
And the thing is, I grew up not going to church, but when I was about 16, I decided to read the Bible cover to cover, and I decided to start going to church. Nobody in my family really went to church.
You were just like, I'm doing it.
I did. I was like, I want to see what this is about. And I'm not Baptist. I don't practice a religion, but I learned so much about the standard, so to speak, like Jesus set a standard, the story of Jesus, of acceptance of everybody, of the leper, of the whore, of everybody.
Yeah.
He accepted everybody. So anybody in a religion who isn't that way isn't honoring their religion.
Right? The seeds of it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I remember when we were, we grew up Catholic, and I'm not a practicing Catholic now. I just took the parts that I like.
Yeah, same.
Like the same thing, the kindness to others and acceptance. And my mom would always say that when I would be like, well, I don't like what the church is doing here, and I don't like that. And she said, well, we have this little church across the street, like the gym mass, and kids are running everywhere. And she said, you just take what you take what you like from it, and you apply that to your life.
Yeah. But to speak to what you were saying about communities that are of service, who maybe sometimes only are of service to things they understand or recognize, that's not what is in the Bible.
Right.
So if you really break it down, the Bible, Georgia.
And Georgia.
My daughter Georgia.
And Georgia. J, the big G.
Yes. Jesus was of service to every community, no matter who it was. So that bothers me sometimes when that doesn't happen.
Stops when there's a lid to your
when
kindness.
There's a state line.
Yeah.
It should be no state line. It should be one big whole world.
Yes.
No state line.
Yes.
I hate that. It's
we would
stupid.
all be so much happier.
Everybody.
And less anxious.
The giver and the givee.
Yeah.
Would all be so much
right.
happier. Deep thoughts with Seana and Leanne. Deep thoughts. When did you know you wanted to be an actress?
I think maybe going into college, and I was definitely not I mean, if I was in the plays, I was in plays in high school and stuff, but again, I'm real happy down in like the 13th on the call sheet, very like ensemble, and got to sort of watch the people who were the stars and fancier and flashier. And I just, I liked it for the exploration of like human nuance.
Yeah.
And which is probably the writer-like streak too, is like, I liked being in other people's shoes, and I liked trying to understand what people were after a feeling, or, just the roller coaster of human emotion, I think is what made me want to do it. And probably college, I don't know why it was more appealing. It just was. And my parents didn't say that I couldn't. So I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did your parents do?
My mom was an artist, like a painter, and English major, and then, kids. So she was that in a mom form.
Yeah.
And my dad's a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could see where they would support you being an actress.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
and you know what's interesting to me, what I see when I look at you and when I've watched the things that I watched before you came, is a curiosity about character. And I think I think it's good for people to understand that maybe you did start acting to become like, Michelle Pfeiffer or fill in the blank, this bigger than life movie star. But acting is so much more sophisticated than that, so much more complex than being a movie star. It really is like a service to me. This is another community service because you are able to show things that we actually sometimes don't know we need to see.
Oh, that's so beautifully put. Just in general about theater or acting or writing is you get to see things that you don't know you needed to see. I think that's so beautifully put. Like a look at a relationship that you're like, nah, that's not how they go. And then you didn't realize until you saw this movie or this play that made you fall in love with this gay couple raising their child, or you know what I mean? Or whatever it is, you don't know that you needed to see that. That's beautifully put.
It's exactly what acting really is.
It absolutely is. And that is why it is of helping people stretch their minds, if given the material to do so, stretch their experience or their outlook or their acceptance of other. And for me, obviously I want to work, but I did not come out as Michelle Pfeiffer, so I never anticipated that. And so for me, it was not why. Being a star, obviously you want to work, but I'm happy just working.
But that's, I think that's beautiful. And the star is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It's the cake you're after. And
right.
I think sometimes regular folk, like the people I grew up with, sometimes think everybody wants to be a star. And that's not the case. Acting, like painting, like music, like stand-up, like writing.
It's the same.
It's the same. It's art.
They're just trying to share experience.
It's an expression of human experience in a way that you can't experience it unless it's presented to you through art. And art in school is so essential, not only because children learn from looking at other kids' art and from expressing themselves through art, but it is a place where a child who is not academically great can excel.
Yes. And feel accepted and feel loved or feeling like they can express themselves. Absolutely. That's the other reason we were like, mandatory theater course is that just the safety of that community, but also I think it teaches, obviously, it teaches empathy. All of those do. The writing and the arts and
all of it does.
Which all of our kids need.
Acceptance. And empathy and a seeing of someone through a different lens. Just to see someone through a different lens can change your own life, but it can also change the life of that other person. If you don't value, if things are valued at you got an A in math. And it's not valued as you drew the best picture. They're not valued or weighted the same. Then that kid that sucks at math feels they are less than. And
it's tricky, right?
Yes.
I think it's very tricky. When we're navigating that with our, like at this early age and I have to keep myself from being like, okay, we got to figure out what they're going to do with their lives so they can thrive, and the bend and weave of that. Oh, yeah.
Life is beautiful. We're so blessed to be here and to have an enlightened experience in that we can just have this. I've never met you before.
Right.
We've had a wonderful conversation about so many things that are meaningful. And I think part of the reason I started my podcast was simply to have meaningful conversations with people, because the more social media is here, the less connected we are with these real genuine conversations that are sometimes unexpected and can be really eye-opening, or like, oh my God, I never looked at it that way. This is an art form in and of itself. Just the conversation,
I agree.
I love my podcast because I love having conversations with people. To just pick apart the human experience.
And that's what I remember someone asking me a few years ago. They were like, what do you like to do most? I was like, I like to have like wine and cheese with my friends. I was like,
Right?
what job does that? Or, it's
Yes.
just the conversation part of it is delicious.
It's delicious,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what
God.
else is life for?
Yeah.
But to enjoy each other's
Right.
company.
And that's the Southern like storyteller thing, right? And the
Yeah.
Irish storyteller thing.
Hey, our
Yeah.
antenna didn't often work on the TV. You had to sit around and tell stories.
Oh my God, completely.
Nothing else to do.
Completely. Listening to
Right.
my mom and her sisters, and they're Irish and Southern. So it was like, and it'd just be, you just hear the laughter and the laughter
Yeah.
and dark humor. And yeah, oh, that's my favorite.
Do you have a dream role, a role that you've never played that you would like to?
I mean, it always used to be Hedda Gabler,
Yeah.
just because she was so like intense of feeling.
Yes.
I think those were my like more rageful. I actually never had rageful years, but like I had years of deep feeling, which I can see in my children. They're deep feelers, meaning like, oh my God, I have so much to do, so
Yes.
much inside.
My shoes,
yes,
my
so-
shoes. And you're like, oh,
I
they're just shoes.
totally remember doing plays, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's just too much. That's too much. So much. There's like you're crying, you're screaming, you're laughing. It's just look crazy." Now I'm just I'm so just happy for what I mean. I love great writing, so it almost
Yeah.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
as long as the writing is great, which is the gift you either get or you don't get,
Yeah.
and you do, yeah. But that's the nice thing about also throwing myself in each. Is I was like, on this one, I want to be really let loose and be crazy, and like, and you get to. I mean, you find that too. You get to write the thing you want to like take a step into.
Yeah.
For a month or whatever.
Yeah. It's fun to do
It's
that.
fun.
It's very fun.
We got to do some things. We got to make some things.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep making your things.
Yeah, I will. And you got to keep. Yeah.
I will. My time will come.
Yeah.
We're so busy here, and I am so happy
Being busy with
in this
yeah.
moment. I'm
Yeah.
super happy. I don't feel unfulfilled. I don't have this like, oh, I need to
Yeah,
be doing
yeah.
ABC. I don't really have that at the
I
moment.
love
So
that.
when things slow down, that'll
Yeah.
all open back up.
Right?
And that's fine. It'll happen when it'll happen. This
Well,
podcast
because you're
is
writing in
super
the
fun.
meantime and doing this, which is storytelling.
Yes. Yes.
God, I love it. Okay, good.
Well, thank you for coming
Oh
today.
my gosh,
and
I
talking
love
to me.
it. I knew when Leslie's like, oh my gosh, you're going to love her.
I love
And they go here
Leslie.
all the time, and we see them, and I've known her. Anyway,
I
so.
know. She's
Oh,
so
thank-
great. I'm going to call her and tell her thank you after
Yes.
you leave. But thank
And
you
I
so
can't-
much.
yes.
Enjoy your time in SoCal.
Thank you.
Yes.
We got some pockets of warmth, and I'll take them.
Yeah, right.
And I want to do your Girl Scout program, and I know I'm 52, but it's never too late. If you write that book, I'm going to buy it
Well,
for everyone I
thank you.
know.
Thank
I'm just going to watch. I'm going to just stalk from here.
you.
Watch all the things.
That's so great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Best
Yeah.
of luck selling your
My
independent
movie.
film.
Yes, thank you.
That's going to
I'm
be
excited.
I want to see it.
It's really fun. The cast is phenomenal. It's
So when I
dark and
can
silly.
see it,
Yeah, I'll
will
send
you
you
send
the-
it to
yeah,
me?
I will.
Because I would love to see
Yeah.
it. Or tell me where I can buy
Yeah.
it. I'm
Oh,
happy
no.
to support.
Yes, no, I'll
And-
just send it when we can. I'll send it to you, and then once I can share the trailer, I'll send you that.
And then
It's
we'll
really
put it on all my stuff.
Yeah,
so
I would
everybody
love
else can
that.
find it too.
I think I can share that in like a
Whenever
month
you're
or so.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.